All right, check, check. Hello, everybody. I feel like it has been a few weeks for me posting at least the Tech Support Live show. I think you guys have seen Alec in the past couple of weeks, and we took a little bit of a break last week. But to everybody joining today's show, thank you so much. This is a Tech Support Live. Everything's ringing on my end. All right. Anyway, welcome to Tech Support Live. This is a show that we do every single Friday, we try to do every single Friday, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock Pacific time. If this is your first time here on the show, what we do here is go from the top down from the chat. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever about either needing help setting up your product, or you want to kind of fix something going on with your network, or really you're just here to hang out, we love to see you guys here in the chat. To introduce myself, I am Angelo. I'm the Senior Interactive Media Specialist at NETGEAR. So I manage this YouTube channel. I manage the pretty much all of our live streams, whether it's on YouTube like what you're watching on right now, or our new monthly Zoom series, which I'd be happy to talk about as well. It's essentially events that we do on Zoom every single month, and we do giveaways at the end. So happy to talk about that if you guys have any questions there. Either case, Ben, I will hand it off to you.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ben. I am a digital experience manager here at NETGEAR. I work on Nighthawk Pro Gaming. I work on our services, and I touch a lot of points on that. As you know, we start from the top and head to the bottom. Hopefully, we'll get to everything. So I'm going to be quick. But it's good to see a lot of you guys back. I'll hand it over to Michael.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael, Technical Marketing Manager at NETGEAR, and I spend a lot of my time working with our beta products and manage a lot of the online reviews on Amazon, as well as doing trade shows when the world's live, and it looks like it's going to start coming live again, which will be great. And I'm here to help answer any questions you've got, and I'll hand it off to Darren.
I'm Darren. I'm a technical support specialist and community moderator at NETGEAR. I cover home networking products for NETGEAR on our NETGEAR community and across our social media. So we're here to answer any of your questions today.
Awesome, awesome. And you know what? I'm gonna start shutting out. We got Christine in the chat. She will be posting from the NETGEAR account. So if you see anything coming from NETGEAR, that is our girl in the cloud, Christine. All right. So again, we do start from the top. So Arsenal, I do see your question first here. We see your follow-up message, but we want to make sure that we get your question. I think you actually posted this like actually a couple hours earlier this morning. So if you're in the chat, please restate your question and we will answer that one first. But otherwise, we will go to Prem. And just to shout everybody out, Adrian, thank you for coming back. Jake Ryder, what's up? Razor2048, Ricky B, Husky Gamer, Dan. We got our regulars here. And Patrick, good day. Great to see everybody here. And again, we wouldn't be able to do the show week by week if it weren't for you guys in the chat that literally just come to either hang out with us, ask your questions. We've been running this for well over a year at this point. So it's really great to see you guys kind of on the same journey as we are. So again, Arsenal, if you are in the chat, we would love to see your follow-up question. But besides that, are you guys ready? So Prem, I think we've seen you in the chat here before. Let's go to this one first. So, all right, there's an RBR 50B2. Went for setup and activated, but unable to connect online. Checked with the Orbi app, says the internet online can't update firmware. Try to skip it and it leads to a 404. Okay. Tried Mac cloning, static DNS, facing the same issue. Tried to check router settings, everything normal, but can't browse anything from the modem going online. Any suggestions? So I think hold on, RBR50. So this is the RBK50, just the Orbi Wi-Fi 5. Seems like you can't get the internet off of the modem. This is actually something that I've ran into before, but this was for Orbi Wi-Fi 6. The the way that I kind of cleared this out when setting up the Orbi was apparently, and I'll also, you know, I'm always learning on these shows, and whenever I set something up that's new, what I did was wait like 15 minutes after connecting the router to the modem, and then let that kind of sit. Apparently, there's some settings that need to clear out from the router side in order for it to read the internet. But I don't know if that's the same or it's going to be applicable to this case. What do you guys think?
Well, I'll jump in here. There's a few things to troubleshoot, and also Prem sounds like he or she knows a lot about working with networking, so probably has already done it. But one of the first things you always do when you're going to set up a new device or a new modem or router to a modem is you connect the router to the modem, turn off the modem, turn off the router, wait 30 seconds or so, flip the modem back on, let it completely reboot, then turn the router on, let it completely reboot. Because a lot of times what happens is the modem, once it's connected up to a router, it basically expects that same MAC address to be there. And it does look like Prem tried cloning the MAC address on the new router and still had problems. So it's probably not an issue of the modem not wanting to talk to the router. But that's just a general information. In fact, I ran across that just yesterday because I'm setting up for that video shoot that we're having. And I was replacing one Orbi system with another Orbi system. And when I put the new Orbi router in, I had to reboot the modem first, then power on the Orbi router for the modem to actually pick up the router. Once you've got that cleared out, one of the first things I would do is try connecting a laptop up to your modem directly and do the same reboot of the modem first, then power on the laptop and see if you can get out to the internet just from the laptop. You should be able to, because it should be able to get the MAC address from the laptop, give it an IP address, you should be able to connect out. That eliminates everything from the modem side, which could cause problems. Next thing, do that same thing, but put your new router in there. Once the router's up, hardwire a laptop into the router and go into the laptop GUI to actually check out the settings that are in there. The app is great. The NETGEAR app is great for it, but really you want to go to the source to make sure what the settings are within the router itself. You'd want to go to the WAN page and you'd want to see, is it actually getting a valid IP address from your modem? It should be, because the modem hands that, and that's how you're actually getting out to the internet. If it doesn't look like it's handing you an IP address, then there's definitely some problem getting that IP address either from the modem or the Orbi router's got some issues. And that's where you'd want to try doing a factory reset on it. As far as you trying to skip the firmware update and getting the 404 unauthorized page, my first guess on that would be, because it's an RBR50 and that's a very old product, it is possible that the URL that page is supposed to be pointing to has changed, and that's what's giving the 404. So that's probably not anything to do with the router itself, just the fact that that page has changed, and that's a very old Orbi router. So those are some of the first guesses I have.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you, Michael. That was very comprehensive. So to kind of drill it down, it was go into the modem, reset that modem. Go into the router, reset the router. Connect your laptop first to the modem, make sure you're getting internet. And then, if you're getting internet, connect the router to the modem and see if you're getting internet. But then,
and always do the reboot of the modem and then power on the device you're connecting to it to make sure that the modem updates the MAC address that it's trying to talk to. Yeah, because what'll happen is if you have the modem up and you get your laptop working, if you just unplug the laptop and then plug the router in, the modem's still going to think it's talking to the laptop.
I think that was my issue the first time when I was doing all that.
The other thing I can think of, maybe it might not be relevant, is if they're actually just setting up their modem with their internet service today, it might not be fully activated before they try to connect it to the router. So you want to make sure it's activated if you're setting up internet service as well today.
Yep. And that's where hooking your laptop directly up to the modem is good, because then the only thing you're testing to see what's your internet connection, see what's going on, is the modem. You don't have to have the router in there as well going, well, is it the router causing the problems or the modem?
Right.
Great. So a couple things. And Prem, I do think it's probably worth to kind of figure out what the modem is, make sure it's like fully activated, where is it based in, and I did see that Christine did put a link to the email as well, so netgearteam@netgear.com, and then you can put hashtag stay connected. Prem, just because there's so many kind of, let's say, intricacies or so many variables that are going into this, we want to make sure that we're executing on the right steps, because there's so many steps that you could possibly take. But Prem, let us know if you are still here in the chat. I would recommend, honestly, just at least making sure that you are getting internet from that modem, and then just kind of checking back in with the results here. And again, for everybody here who's watching, we go until 1 o'clock Pacific time, so we got about a little bit over 45 minutes left. So Prem, just want to make sure that you are here in the chat, listening to our recommendations, and give one of them a shot, and then check back in with us, and then we'd be happy to help you out further. Cool. I did see a couple other comments coming in here that I wanted to call out. I think that's pretty dope, actually. So Jake, you got a pay-per-view comedy event on Saturday. Infrastructure is NETGEAR. Wow, good stakes.
Wow.
Cool. Excellent.
Awesome. I really look forward to hearing about how that goes. Check back in with us next week and let us know how it goes. I assure you, I hope that you're all set up to go, that your infrastructure will be running just fine. Anything you want to check before you start the show tomorrow, or tomorrow at least Pacific time, we'd be happy to make sure that you're all good to go. But I have full confidence that you're all set if you got us all set up to go. And then, hold on. Jacob says, if this show ever goes away, I will jump into the river and swim upstream with the salmon till I freeze.
That's
I love it. Go ahead,
but if you're swimming with the salmon, you better watch out for those bears, because salmon season, the bears love them.
Oh,
yeah. And our next topic is going to be awkward. No, I'm just kidding.
No way. Hey, this is stuff that literally. Yes, thank you, because I sometimes I pick the best comments out of these shows, and then they actually really do go up, and our team is very aware of the great comments that you guys throw in, even ones like that. So Jacob, we love and appreciate that support, and that keeps us going week by week. Same with you, Ryan. He says, I would like to thank you so much because of the show, and looks like Ryan, aka Shady Joker, got the new
XR 1000. So
all right,
awesome,
perfect.
And then Robert Conway, sorry that you've been having so many issues with this. Have you any issues with either product?
Yeah. Let me make sure. So, because Robert, I want to make sure that you're all good to go and set up. So Robert, before we go, I did want to shout out to Dan as well. How do we hook up to the Zoom thing? Oh, this is the Zoom event. So Dan, Zoom happens every second or third week of the month, and it's on Thursday. So the next event is actually
10:30, right?
10:30 a.m. Yeah, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So our last Zoom event we did for Wi-Fi 6E. A lot of the times these events are kind of positioned to, so if let's say you had like an R7000, you're ready to kind of see what's new and upgrade. Those events have been very actually helpful to folks who are still kind of on the fence of, one, figuring out what the technology actually is, like let's say for Wi-Fi 6E, but also how can they get their hands on the latest and greatest that's coming out of NETGEAR. So our last event was on Thursday, May 13th, so literally last week. And then our next one will be coming up on July 17th. We're still working out the final details for the topic, but it's looking like that one's going to be Wi-Fi 6, more on the DIY side. I could just tease this right now. I can't tell anything too specific unless we change anything. But if you guys are kind of like more a DIY, setting up access points, kind of like small, our SMB solutions, but for your home office, That's what we're going to be kind of talking about, the Wi-Fi 6 portfolio when it comes to access points. If you'd like to kind of get your hands a little bit more on the nitty-gritty in terms of your network, we'll be talking about that. But yes, Robert, let's make sure that we do get to your question here. So, Robert, you're still learning and still trying spending money. Hopefully we get your question resolved sooner rather than later. So he's got connectivity issues. I think it's because I have cable internet, not fiber. This will be a 3 to 4 message deal. I've been talking to you guys on and off, but I turned off Wi-Fi 6 on. Okay, so you got the RX 200, still having some Wi-Fi lights and Alexa dots, or okay, so some echoes connecting from time to time, running CM1200. So you got the good stuff. CM1200, RX 200 connected to coax, 1 gig down, 50 up. Not getting more than 850 down. Got an EX8000. Okay. So you got all the right products here, honestly. I cannot figure out why I keep losing connections in the house and why sometimes some of the bands lose internet connection completely. I think it might be the extender. Not sure though. Wow. Okay. Good amount to unpack here. How do you guys want to start this off? This is good.
I'm suspicious of environment. Like what kind of construction do you have?
The thing about the extender,
because there seems to be something that's interfering with your signal.
Also, is Smart Connect turned on in the device?
Yeah.
Since Robert mentions the smart lights, that was the first thing that triggered off to me. The IoT devices often can have problems with the Smart Connect, especially if the IoT devices aren't really smart. Where sometimes they'll connect in on the 2.4 band, which is the one they normally use, and other times they just seem to have problems connecting in. That would be the first thing I'd make sure was turned off, since it is IoT devices in particular that are giving you some problems.
Yeah, I'd want to start with the basics of check your Ethernet cables, make sure they're all good, make sure your firmware is up to date on all your devices that you have, and also use a Wi-Fi analyzer in your home to find the best channels to run your extenders and your routers on. Those are pretty basic things you can do to maybe improve the environmental issues that you're having and try to get around those.
Yeah, because that's what I was also thinking. Not only in what your house is made out of, which can affect your Wi-Fi, but that's a good point, Darren. Is what else is interfering on any other EM or radio interference on channels? There are so many Wi-Fi now that you could be colliding with like your neighbor.
And it's interesting, you mentioned the construction of the house. There was a user that I was helping out a few days ago where he was talking about having Wi-Fi problems, and especially in his guest house. And he'd go and do a test in a room closest to his main house, and he'd get about 200 down. He'd just step into the very next room, and then it suddenly dropped all the way down to like 30. And I jokingly said to him, well, if your house is, very old, then you could have lath and plaster and chicken wire, but what are the odds of that? And first words out of his mouth were, it was built in 1905.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, that definitely could be the problem. So construction of walls, what's actually in the walls, whether it's, like I mentioned, the lath and plaster with the chicken wire, or even just a lot of piping in the walls, a lot of electrical wiring through the walls, all those things could also affect your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, he followed up with that the router's in the basement, Smart Connect is off, extender is across the house, plugged in with Cat 8 50-foot line up some stairs 50 feet away. Yeah, so you should be getting signal to the extender because that's wired.
Yep.
Probably not going to get much signal out of that router in the basement. House built in the 70s. So it's probably mainly wood and drywall.
Yeah.
It's positive.
My first thing is if there's any way to get the router to kind of a more central location within the house. I just know that if it's within the basement, you'll probably have some kind of construction going on between kind of like the bottom floor level all the way to kind of like whatever insulation you got going on between the floors might be kind of affecting it some kind of way. If there's a way to get the RX 200 to kind of like closer to the center of the home, that would be kind of
that would
my
be
first kind of
more
guess.
ideal than
Yeah.
in the basement.
Because the router is also talking to the extender, and if there's just like physical obstacles from the router talking to the extender, which like assuming it's in another room, that's when you might have those connectivity issues if the router, or sorry, if a device is connecting to the extender and then the extender is having trouble talking to the router. That's where you might start seeing some of those issues there. So I think this is a complex just because there's so many things that can, like, if you just move your router up some way, like you might have a dramatic increase in difference or in performance, but also maybe not at the same time. So I guess we're thinking here, the materials of the walls, the location of the router itself. I think you guys have all the right products. Robert, you mentioned something about changing channels. Is there something on our side that we could recommend to kind of help them out on the
router
channel
and
side?
extender are hardwired together, but it's still not getting signal.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Smart Connect's off.
Robert, I see you mentioned that you don't know how to access the settings in the extender. You said you use the WPS. What you would need to do is log into the RAX 200 and go to the attached devices and find the IP address of the extender connected to the router, and then put that IP address into your internet bar, and then it'll let you log into that extender to get to the extender settings if you need to change anything in there.
That's some good. Yeah, thank you, Darren. That's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, give that a shot. Is there something? So once he gets into the extender settings, is there anything that he should take a look at first?
He can change channels of the extender.
Gotcha.
In there.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and after you've done that channel analyzing the channels just to make sure that you got a free channel, then you could switch the extender to that and see if that's getting you better connection. He's saying that he's also getting just complete dropout. So I would actually check the 2.4 channel, because that's going to punch through a lot more distance than the 5.
Yeah.
And I would use that as a way of trying to figure out where your connection dead spots are. If the 2.4 isn't making a ton of distance in your house, then there's got to be something that is either interfering with the signal, blocking the signal. That I think that'd be a good troubleshooting starting spot.
Yeah. So here's kind of my hunch, right? I think that inherently there might be some obstacles here where the router is just kind of on the bottom floor and needs to speak up to devices that are on the top. Try to recommend getting more central location for that. And then number 2, yes, in case, like, I don't know how you exactly connect your devices to which band, but whenever I set things up, and just based on kind of just how networking just kind of works, is like Ben mentioned, 2.4 is going to be it's going to have your wider range, but maybe less so. It's going to be like you got your highway lane, right? It's going to have 2 lanes. It's going to be a little bit kind of like slower in terms of the speed, but you're going to have like that long range, right? You're going to have that legacy band. I would recommend putting all your IoT devices onto that band because you're going to need that reach. The thing with IoT devices is that they tend to kind of just like send little packets. Like, I guess packets that come into like bursts. I don't know. Like, this is the way that I kind of describe it. Versus, let's say, right now I am streaming coming from at least 3 different sources who are all in different parts of California and uploading it straight to YouTube. I want to be on 5 gigahertz at least when I'm doing something that takes up a lot of congestion, a lot of bandwidth, and I need that real-time latency. Versus things like your Alexa that needs to speak to the cloud every once per while. That one's not going to be sending as many packets relative to maybe something that's like a stream, a video, music, whatever it might be. So definitely check which devices are connected to what band. See what you can do to kind of optimize the location of your router, and also dig into the extender settings. Now that you know how to pull the IP address, you could stick it into your web browser and then adjust some of the channels there. And that should hopefully kind of resolve some of these connectivity issues.
Yeah, he's also saying that 2.4 is never the issue. It's always the 5.
Yep, yep.
Mhm.
So definitely, yeah, for all those,
all the dots are on 2.4.
Yep. So, but it does seem like the dropouts are happening on the 5 gigahertz. I don't think, is there anything on the community? I mean, I have an RX200 and I haven't really seen any dropouts on my side, but I don't know if there's something in terms of any commonalities for dropouts on the Wi-Fi 6 stuff. I know we used to see a couple things, but I don't know if that's been resolved by now.
From what I had seen, it was resolved in the past when we were having those problems, and I haven't seen a lot of new issues coming up on the 5.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know. So Robert, which one do you want to try first? Moving your products around a bit, changing the channels on your extender, or what else? Is there something else we recommended here? What else?
Yeah, there's also one other thing to recommend is if he's trying to narrow down whether it's just a problem with the extender, is if he can change the SSID of the Wi-Fi on the extender. And that way, if it does drop out on the extender, he can then check against the router's Wi-Fi on the same band. And if that's still working, then that lets him know it definitely is a problem with the extender.
So you're saying you could separate the Wi-Fi name between
right, basically,
the
right, when you set it up as a extender, you can always have like the name _ext, and that way you know that it's a separate, you know which one you're actually connecting to, whether it's the extender or the main router. And that way you can troubleshoot to see whether or not, if it drops off on the extender, is it still working on the main router? And if it is, then right away you know it's the extender causing the problem, and it isn't that the 5 gigahertz band itself is just disappearing.
That's great, because you also want to make sure that your devices, especially your IoT devices, are talking to the right product. Yeah.
Yep.
If they're going to be trying, like let's say you got them connected to NETGEAR Wi-Fi, NETGEAR _ Wi-Fi or something like that, and then it's the same Wi-Fi name between the extender and your router. You might think it's connecting to the extender because maybe they're physically closer, but in reality, and you wouldn't know this, they might be connecting to the router, which is all the way downstairs. So yes, Michael, that's a good recommendation. Try to split up bands, or sorry, split up, I guess, the
SSID names. Yep.
And then try connecting to one or the other, and then see if you're still experiencing those dropouts.
Yeah, and especially if the signal from the router down the basement is still good for the IoT devices, but it's not great, then the IoT devices aren't going to know to drop that and connect to the closer extender, because there's still just enough signal that they can work, but it's going to be kind of fuzzy right on the edge.
Okay.
Kind of like when you only have like 1 or 2 bars on your phone. Yeah, you've got a connection there, but it's very weak. But the phone still thinks it's there, so I'm going to keep talking on it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. So just to kind of clear things up, I know that we did get a few more questions kind of coming in since we started with Robert. To get to, I guess, splitting up the extender SSID with the router SSID, is that one Wi-Fi name under the extender settings, or where can you find that?
That should be in the extender settings. I haven't pulled that up in a while, but that's where you would actually go to be able to change the Wi-Fi names.
Okay, cool. All right. Hey, so Robert, we let's try out a couple things. So again, see if you could get your router to somewhere more central. Check the extender, the extender settings. Try splitting up the SSID between the extender and the router, and do what you can to move your IoT devices onto 2.4, and then make sure they're on 2.4, whether it's on the extender or on the router side, that they're not trying to speak to 5 gigahertz, because in reality, those devices aren't really good for 5 gigahertz. They're not going to have that range TV data. So check back in with us. And again, I think Christine put in NETGEARteam@netgear.com, and then we'd be certainly happy to assist you further, even after the show. All right. I want to keep you guys waiting. I know we're just about over like halfway through the show. Is there? I just want to make sure I did not miss anything. I'm gonna kind of start scrolling.
You've
back
got to
up
ask for
here.
people to like the show.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Wow, we beat the chat to the punch. Usually the chat is the first to remind us first. But yes, if you guys find the show valuable, if you guys enjoy coming on here week by week, and this is something you want to continue seeing, again, I report on this like literally every week. I like seeing you guys' comments, and so do everybody up top. So if you guys like the show, please subscribe. Please hit that bell. That means you're going to get all the notifications whenever we're about to go live. And then always we love seeing the likes and the comments because, again, this is something that just shows that you guys really do appreciate this and find this valuable. So I'd love to see it. All right. Let me scroll all the way back up. All right. So I believe, unless I'm mistaken here, Elkin, I hope that you're still in the chat. I got the comment that I'm reading here. Does the Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6E support Proton VPN, or what can you suggest? So I guess this is just like in general VPN supported on the RAX E500. Do you guys know anything about that?
Yeah, the only one that we support on the RAX E500 right now is OpenVPN.
Okay.
And you can get information on how to actually set that up on page 136 of the user manual, since I happened to pop it up to find the page.
No way.
Yeah, way. And if you're just asking about supporting VPN client software where you don't actually have to put a VPN server software on the router, then it'll support any client software because it just acts the pass-through for the VPN tunnel that you're creating. But if you actually need a VPN server on the router, OpenVPN is the only one it supports.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So Elkin, yeah, just to drill it down, if you're just installing a VPN on the client side, you should be good to go. But if you want an actual server, we got OpenVPN right now. So let us know what the actual use, because people use VPNs for different things. Let us know if that's what you were looking for in terms of answering the question. All right. Husky Gamer, want to know something? I search up NETGEAR versus Xfinity, said NETGEAR's better. Awesome! That's something we want to hear. And cool. Oh, Patrick. And again, correct me if I skip a question. That sometimes those happens, and I don't want that to happen. Patrick asks, is there any reason why RAX 80, upon doing a firmware update, would change its name to the default NETGEAR name? That's uncommon, I think, right?
No, normally it shouldn't unless you do a factory reset on it.
Yeah.
When you do a standard firmware upgrade, it should save all of your previous settings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty odd. Well,
that sounds like, yeah, it's like resetting the entire thing.
Which I've seen happen, in the past randomly on routers. We've seen customers that have had that problem, but it's been incredibly rare. And it usually means that there was corruption in his initial firmware file. Mm-hmm. And that for some reason triggered a reset as a new firmware was told to update it. But 99.9% of the time, no, it definitely should not be touching your settings. It should just carry those over. And all it's doing is updating the packets, the key packages within your firmware.
And if you're afraid of that, losing all your settings, you can go into the router and back up your config file so you don't have to manually go in and load them again. You can just load the config file back and it'll get all your settings back.
Yeah, especially if you did a lot of customization on it, you want to do that. Because I know when I put in a bunch of port forwarding and I've got to move from one router to another, I just wish there was a way that I could back all that up and move it over to the new router, but it's always a different model, so it's not going to take it. But working with the same router, absolutely back those settings up just to save you time.
Awesome. Wow. That's a good reminder for me because I didn't know about that either. As you could probably have seen throughout these shows, we learn as much as from you guys, as much as you guys hopefully learn from us. So give it a shot. But yeah, Patrick, hopefully it shouldn't happen again. But if it does, definitely back up the config file. And then, again, if I'm mistaken, you could just change it back to your original settings on your Wi-Fi name and the password. And are all your old devices that used to be connected to that network, are they just going to automatically connect back? Is that how it works? Should work like that, right? Okay.
Should.
So hopefully, Patrick, yeah. Even though it did change, try giving it a change back and then your devices should just automatically connect to it. So, but yeah, keep us posted if that does happen again, because we do not want that to happen. All right. What's the next question here? I gotta kind of scroll all the way back down.
To, I think, Husky Gamer asking,
Yeah.
will there ever be a NETGEAR 5G LTE router?
Okay, Husky Gamer. Also, I do see something from Husky Gamer. The squad is back. I think it is actually. It's been a few weeks since we had all 4 of us here. So, dang, is that the name that we got for us, the squad? All right.
apparently that's the name.
Perfect. Wait, is that the one where it's the 4G LTE router? Wait, hold on.
Oh, he wants 5G LTE router.
5G LTE router. I'm trying to.
I thought we had something.
One. Nope, we don't have a 5G LTE router yet.
We have 4G LTE.
Yep.
Yeah, we got 4G. So that's something that we call fixed wireless. So yes, right now for a 4G LTE router, and this is just kind of basis for everybody in the show to kind of know what we're talking about here. That's what we internally call fixed wireless. I mean, it makes sense, but hopefully it makes sense when you think about it. I mean, it's something that's typically fixed versus like a hotspot. A hotspot, you could, let's say a 4G hotspot, you could take it on the go with you, put it in your pocket, and then you can connect any device to it as if it were like a regular Wi-Fi network, right?
Yeah, just think of it as fixed wire. The fixed wireless is one that actually requires you to plug in AC power for it to run.
Yeah.
The others are like Angelo said, the hotspots that you can carry around. They're battery powered and of course can be AC powered, but they're mobile devices as opposed to being required to always be plugged into AC.
Yeah. So yeah, your fixed wireless device is typically something that you like kind of keep at home. Very good for let's say you got a cabin or a home rental, or maybe you live somewhere rural. You don't want to depend on your ISP to get you internet whenever you need to connect. So that's where we're kind of seeing that increased kind of use case of, you could literally have a home Wi-Fi network completely separate from your cable ISP. It's actually going to connect to 4G through your 4G modem. But really, to kind of drill down your question, unfortunately, we don't have anything that is past 4G at this point. Even for 5G is relatively newer technology. Typically, kind of how we work, we can't really comment on when exactly these things will come out, but essentially what we could tell you is fixed wireless was something that we just started kind of like really pushing for last year. But if you guys are pushing to see 5G, again, let us know either here in the chat. We have the Exchange forum, and really that's kind of like your direct line to let our engineers know that 5G is on your guys' radar and that you guys want it. So.
And I'd say the Vegas odds makers put that pretty high, so I'd place a bet on it.
Yeah. So stay tuned. I hate saying the word "stay tuned," but that's what we got to do. Oh man. All right. Help me out here. Which one is the next question? I'm kind of in the middle. Back and forth.
His screen.
Okay.
We got that one.
Mm-hmm.
James Elliott, maybe.
I gotta scroll down to James Elliott. Oh, okay.
James Elliott, yeah.
Yeah. Did we all just see James Elliott's comment all at once? Okay. All right. So from James, he's got a question. Got a CM2000. I have a gig connection from Comcast. I have yet to get beyond 942 megabits per second. Okay, 942 is still pretty good.
Well,
the answer there is that's actually a very good number, and that's normal. I can honestly say on a gig line, I've never actually seen 1 gig come down, no matter what I've got connected to it.
Well, he's got a 1.2 gig signal, and Xfinity wants him to swap out the 2000 for an X5 modem router gateway combo, which we know, and not just say that it's no good. It's it's a gateway. So
yeah, we want to keep the show running, guys.
Yeah,
generally gateways are less efficient than separating them. I'll say that.
Yeah,
and they also lock you in if you ever want to actually upgrade one piece of the component or the other. You have to upgrade both at the same time.
Yeah,
he's also using a RAX 120. That's a great combination. The 2000 and the RAX. you're not going to get that 1.2 gig signal. And the reason is right now with fiber or gig plus systems, the ISPs are really keeping that close to their chest because they want you to have to rent their gateways.
Yeah.
And so currently it's not open to us to build equipment for those yet. And so what that does is it makes it difficult because you're probably not going to get that 1.2 signal running that CM2000. Is it capable of doing it? Hell yeah. But are you going to get it? Not right now, because Xfinity is trying to route you towards their gateway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think either case, like, I mean, just take it from us. I'm trying to be careful how I word this.
Yeah.
You know, I used to have fiber in my home. Actually, I still have fiber. Never mind. I still have fiber. So that means I'm locked into their gateway. So my only the only thing I could do, I have an RX200 at home, but the only thing I could really do is either set that gateway to bridge mode or disable the Wi-Fi, whatever, and then run the Wi-Fi off of the router. But the thing is that I don't want to just completely depend on whatever equipment NISP gives me. One, who knows about how long that equipment will actually last. Two, you're renting it, or you're paying some kind of cost for that for a technology you necessarily don't need because you already purchased your own equipment. So that just means more money.
Right.
And three, like Ben mentioned, it's like it's going to lock you in. So you never know, right? Planned obsolescence. You never know when they want to upgrade to the next thing that might cost X amount of dollars, right?
And that rental fee adds up pretty fast when you do the month to month. You know, a year or two can go by in an eye blink, and then you found out you've spent, $400 just renting their equipment.
Yeah.
Yep. And usually those gateways are not expensive.
Yeah.
No.
So the question that you have to ask yourself, James, is, do I want to have a super solid 950 speed, a solid consistent signal at 950, or do you want to go and get that extra, 250, out of the rest of the signal, and have to pay the rental fee?
Mm-hmm.
I mean that it's really up to you on that. But 942, Jacob chimed in, and Razor is 942 is pretty much you're topping out.
Well, plus if you read the fine print of the cable company, they're going to use the words up to a gig. They're not going to guarantee that you're going to have a gig signal. So being above 900 with a gig signal, I wouldn't worry about it, honestly, because it's rare that you're going to get the full gig that they're saying you can have up to that you're paying for.
Right. And if you actually happen to have a laptop that has a multi-gig port on it, which is not very likely, but if you do, then you could connect it directly up to the CM2000 and test whether or not you're actually getting a max of 1.2 from them. They may only be giving you a gig or slightly less than that.
Yeah, and I do think that there's like a few other things of like just hardwiring as many devices as you possibly can, relieve the congestion that might be taking place on your network if you're running a lot of things wirelessly. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of maximize your speed, but kind of as like everybody here has already mentioned, the speeds you're already getting are really good. That's even better than what I'm getting. And again, I got the RX 200, but the thing is, I gotta run everything wirelessly, and I can't buy my own modem. So, hey, you're in a better spot than I am. Like, I want to be where you're at. But either way, yes, I do think you've done the most you can to kind of put yourself in the best situation possible. They're just these smaller things to kind of, just hardwiring your devices, doing what you can to kind of like relieve congestion. And then also, your speed test will kind of vary throughout the day depending on how much load is taking up on your networks. You still got folks working from home and streaming from home after work and stuff like that. So just be kind of cognizant of kind of like your actual speed test.
And James gets it. He left a comment that he's not willing to make him rich on inferior equipment. So thank you. Still, even with the CM2000 is advertised in 2.5, will we ever achieve that? No. been there, done that. 940 is a consistent direct wire or via the router. I'm using Cat 8 is what he said. Yeah, right now it's like Darren said, it's the up to, you know. Yep. That's how they get you. I don't want to sound like a crazy conspiracy, tinfoil hat wearing person, but that's always how they get you is, up to, mainly because I think it was that started appearing once we broke the 100 barrier. Everything below 100 was like 10, 20, pretty consistent, 50. And then once we got past 100, everything started becoming up to 100, up to 250. And especially with cable, because those speeds are variable due to the amount of people that are on your particular cable node. More people that are on, the slower the internet gets.
And the quality of the cables. I know with the coax that's running around, a lot of those wires are really old. They're using the same stuff that they were using pre-2000 even. To get up to those gig numbers, usually it's the main trunks that they're replacing. But once those wires go off to the houses, those things haven't been changed in years. So quality of wiring will also affect things. So from a legal standpoint, it's best to say up to, as opposed to guaranteeing a certain speed.
Yeah, I'm sure in the fine print they also state during peak hours you could see less speed as well somewhere.
And it's buried in that like gigantic document that you get,
the one you never read.
The one you never ever read. Real quick, Husky Gamer, yes, Netgear Armor is far superior. Unlimited end-to-end protection that you can put on multiple devices. Not only that, but we're protecting from the router. So you'll have your local network, your devices that are connected to the router are all protected at the router. Plus, you can also download it as an end protection on individual devices. I have that on my phone and on my laptop, which then gives me an additional layer of protection. And then Armor also has a VPN element to it as well, which can also give you kind of a third sort of layer of protection. So there's it's a multiple layer cybersecurity suite of products and features. It's not just a one and done. So
and to add into that, when you were mentioning about downloading the client app of Armor on your devices, especially like your phones, that gives you the extra protection that when you leave your home, you're no longer behind your router that has Armor on it, but you still have Armor on your phone. So if you go to a public hotspot or something like that, you're still protected.
Yeah, and we're constantly improving that product. I'm now on that product, and I think it's amazing. So and there are some amazing things that we want to do with it. So it's just going to get better and better.
Yep. Ben is officially your Armor guy. So any questions, not just gaming. Oh man, this is your debut, Ben. So thank you for that for that great explanation.
And also to those that are using it, like Jacob, thanks for the shout out on it. It's a great product, and if I just for just a second, the thing is that it's so easy to use. That's what I love about it. Like it used to be that you'd have to put your antivirus or your whatever and then scan. It's automatically doing all that, and it's automatically blocking threats, which is really cool. And it's almost like set it and forget it. It's almost like like one of those old whammo rotisseries. I just compared it to a chicken rotisserie.
A chicken, yeah.
but it's really that's stupidly simple to set up.
Hey, I've got one of those George Foreman chicken rotisseries, and they are awesome.
They are awesome.
That's the biggest collab of the year, guys. Throw a comment in there. Our managers will be able to see it. So, chicken and Armor. They go well together. All right, we got less than 10 minutes left, and I do want to make sure that we get to as many questions as possible. I think what I've seen, you guys are really good at throwing a lot more questions now, so we kind of got to be more conscientious of our time, which is again something.
Yeah, it always like
No more fillers.
Yeah, it always backloads. The last 10 minutes is always a speed round. So.
All right. So speed round. All right. Hamad is asking, if you place a NAS on your network, what topology transport medium is the best, wired or wireless?
Easy answer to that, always wired.
Yep.
That's how NAS is. Yeah, there's no other way.
For one thing, there's very few NASs that actually have wireless to them. The wireless on them is not going to be very fast, and especially with a NAS device, you're worried about the your data integrity. And when you're trying to send stuff across wirelessly, you can have dropped pieces. And depending on what program is trying to either read or write, sometimes they'll go and they'll be able to resend the packets. Sometimes they won't. So you always want to have it wired when you're going to your NAS, because the reason for a NAS is you want nice data integrity, central location that everything can get to, and you can be sure the data is there and good all the time.
And I'd also say that you want to also, this is a good time to talk about a multi-gig switch if you can get it, because then you can connect your NAS to the multi-gig, and if you have multi-gig port from your PC, now you have a really fast
something
tunnel.
like that right there.
Woo!
Yes,
nice.
sir.
There you go.
Dang.
And it looks cool too.
It does.
I have multi-gig from my computer going to a multi-gig switch that then goes to my NAS.
Oh, perfect.
And
perfect.
file transfers to the NAS is like butter.
Nice. Yeah, Ahmad. I know you're here almost every week, so let us know. Anything about NAS. I mean, you got all the right guys on the show, so yeah, keep it coming. Gabriel, I am having an issue with my router. When I go to the website, then go to attach devices, I try to edit a device and change the priority to change it, but when I click apply, it does not save it. Huh? That's QS. Right? I think you're in the GUI settings.
Where's this one?
Gabriel, a little bit after Hamad and James. So Gabriel having an issue with the router. So it seems like QoS settings aren't saving.
And which router is it?
Good question. Hey, Gabriel, if you're still here, we'd love to help you out in the last few 5 minutes actually.
I'm guessing it's an XR router because of the fact that he's changing priority. He changes it, and when he clicks apply, it does not save it. Excuse me.
Okay. So how about like a quick refresh? What if you just literally turn off, turn on, unplug,
I'm gonna
wait 10 minutes.
For a correction for that. That seems like something in the OS is not clicking the right gears. I would reinstall the firmware.
Yep.
Factory reset and reinstall the firmware. That should clear that up.
Yeah, it is a relatively older product too.
That fixes.
So you might kind of experience some kind of hangups. Just crud that kind of builds up. So I mean honestly, I would just kind of lay things out. Do the kind of quick turn off, turn on, unplug, replug, wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Let us do this thing, try it again, and if not, then try to reset it, upload that fresh firmware back in, and that should reset.
Try doing a factory reset. If that doesn't work, then do a firmware upgrade and just reload the latest firmware onto it. Then do a factory reset on that to make sure everything's cleared out, reset it up, see if the problem still occurs. And if the problem's still occurring, then it may be a problem with the device itself is starting to go bad, and the memory areas that it's got stuff written over
it could be corrupted.
Has got some corruption, and even when you're putting the firmware back over it, it's just overwriting the same bad bits.
Yeah, but I would say 9 times out of 10, a solid factory reset and reinstallation of the firmware usually corrects.
Cool. Yep,
most things.
All right. So hopefully, again, we do the show every week. So really update us next week, and then hopefully it did resolve your issue. And if not, then we'd be happy to help you out there. Cool. Few minutes left. Just want to make sure we still keep going down. Hamad, is it better using a printer server if you have 2 printers on your network or not?
Only if you're doing a lot of printing, because the only reason to have the print server is if you have a lot of print jobs you're pushing out there. But just having two systems on the network using the same printer, you don't actually need to have a print server because there's enough memory in the printers to be able to take half dozen print jobs. You only need that print
especially
server when you've got a lot of print jobs that are going out, which is the reason why, like at NETGEAR, we of course have print servers because we've got hundreds of people throwing print jobs at things at the same time.
So you should be okay. It's just cool. All right. Razor, are the config files from older firmware forward compatible if there was a significant firmware update?
Older firmware on the same router?
I think it's like when we were saying to back up your config files, if you upgrade your firmware, is it okay? Like, can you still use those same config files?
That's actually a good question, and I would say most likely yes, because it's basically registry entries inside the router and it's not, when you back up your entries, it's not actually like making a copy of the firmware and then when you restore it, it overwrites everything. All it is just specific registry entries, and the variables for those registry entries shouldn't change. Even if they add new features, that'll be just new variable names that they have. So it should work, unless they make some major changes to the firmware, and normally they don't. Usually the changes are more incremental and adding on top.
So our bet would be it would work. There's technically no reason why it shouldn't. But hey, I mean, I guess with really anytime you kind of like upgrade your firmware and it's going to be major, I think it's just good practice to back things up. I guess we've been talking about NAS for a while, so I know we'll probably get back into it right before we end the show. All right. Let me try to make sure I do get. So I see a lot of actually comments about kind of helping each other out in the chat. So again, hey, you guys we have a whole community of folks that are literally, as much as we want to help out, you guys are helping out as well. So we'd love to see that kind of support here.
And a shout out to Ryan that he said, guess what just showed up at his door while the show's on? His new XR1000.
Oh,
fantastic.
Ben.
You're going to enjoy it.
Yes. You're going to get...
And somebody said that they got Rainbow Six Siege, which is great. That's been a promotion that we've been having.
Yeah. I saw a little bit earlier in the chat too. Yeah, and it came as a surprise, I think, to somebody. Yeah. So awesome to see it. We're down to our last minute. Let me try to make sure that we kind of cleared out everything. And I think actually we kind of did. Jacob says extend the show to 1.5 hours. We used to have it for 2, and then everyone was saying we're taking too long on the show, so we had to cut it down to 1. Hey, again, if you guys want to see this, it wasn't our decision. It was somebody else's.
Hey, if you want to keep seeing this, hit that thumbs up.
Yeah.
And also that subscribe.
There we go.
Hit the bell.
All right. Yeah,
All
and
right.
I see that Ryan did just get the new X1000, and he'll be doing an unboxing. We love to see it.
For those people that haven't seen it, here's what he's going to be unboxing right there.
Woo! Yes, tag
Awesome
us. We would be happy to check it out on social. Check it out on YouTube, and
tag us on social.
We love seeing our fans come back. So, we'll just make sure that we see it. All right, guys, we are about to end the show, and now we have meetings right after the show, so that's why we got to cut it right at 1. But again, we love to see everybody support here week on week. Today has been a really good show with a lot of really good questions, and I hope that we are able to answer them to the best of our ability. So again, this is Tech Support Live. This is something we do every single Friday. So please, we hope to see you next week. Actually, I think we
were going to cancel next week's.
Yeah. Okay. So
because it's the holiday.
Oh,
that's right.
Yes.
Memorial Day is coming up. Okay, so we'll keep you tuned in on the next time we're going live. So please follow us on social. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And again, we love and appreciate you guys' comments and your likes. And we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
All right. See you later.
Cool. Peace out, guys.